Hello, everyone. So today we are going to be talking about preparing and evaluating a research plan. For our little introduction here, we got the research progress little picture here from the first year, second year, third year, and final year. You can see in the first year he's well dressed, looks really enthusiastic, and kind of lets himself go throughout the process. And it just shows that it can be a tiring process, but in the end, it can be worth it. Our objectives for this chapter is be able to define and discuss the purpose of a research plan, be able to describe each component of a quantitative research plan, and be able to describe each component of a qualitative research plan, and be able to describe ways into which a research plan can be revised and improved. And this presentation should be able to break down all of that. So first, what is a research plan? A research plan is a detailed description of a study proposed to investigate a given problem. Research plans, regardless of whether they are for quantitative or qualitative studies, generally include an introduction that includes the review of relative literature, discussion of the research design and procedures, and information about the data and analysis. Moving forward, we're going to jump right into the components of a quantitative research plan. So the first, like we just kind of discussed, is the introduction. And the introduction is broken down into a statement of the problem, a statement of research questions, review of related literature, and a statement of the hypothesis. This is all in the introduction. Continuing with the components of a quantitative research plan, we then go into a methods section, which includes the research participants, instruments, materials, the design. So, like, what's the overall how-to, what you're going to do, and then their procedure, which is a more detailed version of that. And again, continuing with a quantitative research plan and the components, we have data analysis. This is how the data will be analyzed. The time schedule, so how long the proposed experiment will last, and a time frame. So is it going to be like a 6-week experiment? What are you going to have to do before to gather materials? And how much time is it going to take to analyze the data? So everything's broke down into a time schedule, and then the budget. So this is how the funds of the experiment is expected to be complete and broke down into individual parts. So this is how much is each thing going to cost, and it's all broke down individually to be able to show where all your expenses are going. Now we're going to jump into the components of a qualitative research plan. So a qualitative research plan includes a prior field of work. So this is like your experience. What is like your expertise, or what have you done in your past? Then you're going to have a title, and then you're going to have an introduction, which is a problem statement, framing the study, statement of research questions, and review of related literature. Continuing with our components of the qualitative research plan, this is just overall points, not as much broke down and not as detailed, but you're going to have your research procedures, you're going to have your overall approach and rationale for the study is going to be included. You're going to have a site and sample, so where did you get your people, and what kind of, like, where did you get your participants, or what did you get for your experiment, and like what percentage of that, and the breakdown. What is the researcher's role? So what is your role in the research plan? Data collection, data management, and data analysis, and then any ethical considerations for the research plan, and then potential contributions of the research. So how is this going to impact like your field of expertise or your field of research? All right. Now moving on to revising and improving the research plan. So to assess your plan formally, you can field test some aspects by what you call a pilot study, which is a small-scale trial of study conducted before the full-scale study. Another way that you can revise and improve is by reading through your research plan to ensure that you have included all the major headings. You can also check that your research plan includes sufficient details to allow another reader to be able to perform the exact experiment. And then another way is ask somebody else other than yourself to read through it so they can pick up on things that you might be overlooking or missing. As far as that goes, that is going to conclude our main topic of conversation for our research plans. But to wrap it up, we're going to go back over, we went over the definition of what is a research plan, which is a detailed description of a proposed study. It includes the literature review and justifies the study and its hypothesis, and a description of steps that will be followed in the study and information about the analysis of the collected data. The plan provides a guide for conducting the study. We also then went over the quantitative components, which include an introduction, methods, research participants, instruments, design, procedures, data analysis, time schedule, and budget. The qualitative research plan is much less structured than a quantitative plan because the research must be responsive to the context and setting under the study. And for those components, we have a prior fieldwork title, introduction, and then our procedures, and then any appendixes. Lastly, we just went over revising and improving a research plan, in which we discussed different methods into which you can revise and improve, which can include reading over or having somebody else read over and having a pilot study during your research plan. As for that, that concludes our presentation on our research plan. Thank you and have a nice day.